Welcome to Peace the Warrior, the podcast where courage meets conviction and calm meets the storm. Here we arm ourselves with faith to fight our battles with grace. Join us each week as we delve into powerful stories, life-changing insights, and spiritual warfare strategies that empower you to live victoriously. Whether you're seeking peace in chaos or strength in struggle, this is your rally point. Gear up, gather your spirit, and step into the arena with us. It's time to unleash the warrior of peace within you. Let the journey begin. Today, we have a truly inspiring guest with us. She is a beacon of resilience, a young woman whose spirit shines even brighter because of the battles she has faced. Folks, I'm thrilled to introduce to you the marvelous Miss, a dedicated college student who has navigated the complexities of community challenges, personal trials, and everything in between with a faith that can only be described as unshakable. Miss has not only persevered, but flourished, finding strength in her relationship with Jesus and becoming a source of inspiration for others facing their own struggles. Today, she's here to share her journey of overcoming adversity, how her faith has been her cornerstone, and her message of hope and courage that can light up the darkest paths. So buckle up as we dive deep into a conversation filled with deep insights, heartfelt experiences, and powerful lessons that promise to uplift and empower. Miss, welcome to Peace the Warrior. We're so honored to have you with us today. So give me a brief introduction and a background. Tell me about yourself and your journey where you are today.
So my name is Ms. I am a college student. I'm 25 years old. I am studying psychology, wanting to be a occupational therapist for kids. I have a physical disability, so I am a physical disability advocate and mental health advocate. Combined to in my free time. I love music.
How long have you been a mental health advocate?
I have been a mental health advocate probably since my freshman year of college, but really starting during COVID when the pandemic hit. Because I got connected with a lot of mental health communities as well. And started really supporting people who struggle with mental health just like I do.
Yeah.
In my free time.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how we met, was in a Discord with some mental health patients, as I call them. We're very patient with our mental health issues. Okay, so my next question would be challenges and overcoming obstacles. So what has been some of your biggest challenges that you have faced in your career or your life, and how did you overcome them?
So my biggest challenge that I've really tried overcoming and still trying to overcome throughout my life is probably my physical disability. In elementary, middle, and high school, I was not seen as an equal of my peers and was bullied quite a lot because of my physical disability and just left out. And I had a very negative view of myself as someone with a disability. And I had to find a community and find the right group of people to be able to really change my viewpoint of who I am as a person. And not let the words of other people try and define me or put me in a box of what I can and can't do as a person.
Yes, I like the way you said that.
Yeah.
So what are some key insights and lessons that you've learned looking back? What would you say was the most important lesson you've learned?
Finding a community. I think I was trying to find my community in the wrong people. And I was just very in the mindset of why doesn't anyone want to hang out with me? and why do people leave. But junior year of high school came around, and that's when I found the right group of people and the right group of individuals that like lifted me up as a person, and really celebrated who I was as a just an individual. They didn't care about my disability. They just invited me into their space, which was very important to me. And knowing that like just because I have a disability doesn't mean that like the community doesn't exist.
Exactly. That was beautifully put. Even though you were dealing with still some of the questions of why people leave, I still deal with those questions. It's like, what did I do wrong? Why don't you like me? Why are you leaving?
Yeah.
And it really sucks.
But I think I still deal with those, but I have the sense of like being able to see the friendships that I've created in junior year of high school, and knowing that like one of my best friends that I made is still one of my best friends today and the safest person that I have since then. And it's been my longest relationship and friendship with this person. And I, in my wildest dreams, would never have thought that like I would have a friendship that lasted that long, and it's been like a true friendship.
And those are really special to have too.
Yeah, exactly.
Really hard to come by.
Incredibly hard to come by, but I'm incredibly lucky to have her.
Okay, so are there any current or future projects? What are you working on, and what can we expect to see from you in the future?
I am just trekking along. I am working towards getting into grad school for occupational therapy. So if you have a kid that needs an occupational therapist, hit me up in like a few years and I will be there for you.
Nice. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So what all do you do?
So an occupational therapist is essentially a person that works specifically with the pediatric department, is someone that works with children with hand strength problems and fine motor skills. I used to intern with a group of people that they're the little kids. We worked with newborns all the way up until 2 years old. They had strokes in their mother's womb, and so one of their hands and their legs on one side of their body just doesn't work as well as the other side of their body.
Yeah.
And so working with patients to be able to work on hand strength, building up that like pinch strength, pinching grip, anything that has to do with their hand, and being able to be a functional elementary school child, and being able to like be self-sufficient in eating, drinking, playing, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's neat. Nice.
Yeah.
So how did you get into this?
So it's actually a really funny story. I was in high school. Actually, I think it was more middle school. I was in between there. I get my own physical therapy, and I was in between seeing a home therapist and being seen in a clinic setting, because my home therapist essentially said that I had aged out of home therapy and they couldn't do more for me from home, and that I would need to be seen in a clinic to be able to get more out of physical therapy. So I was in between clinics, and one of my oldest sisters is a physical therapist, and she was there for a summer camp to get her hours in for physical therapy school. And the lead physical therapist there knew about me and knew that I needed a physical therapist, so offered to have me come by so that I can be evaluated and see if I'm a good fit for their clinic as a patient. And because it was too far away, my sister couldn't drive me back home um, right after the evaluation. So I ended up staying for the whole day and got to shadow some occupational therapists with the little kids. And this was the same population of children that had strokes. And so I was able to shadow those little kiddos and their occupational therapists. And I absolutely fell in love with doing that. And I went back every day after that camp. She allowed me to continue shadowing. And I ended up going back that next year too as an occupational therapy shadow. And I was set on that specific goal and that career since then.
Nice. So you had such a positive influence that you wanted to do the same.
Right. And I just fell in love with the kids, and I knew that that's the population that I wanted to work with, and that's the kinds of things that I wanted to do. And I knew that I would be able to do it as with my physical disability and the limitations that I do know that I have.
Nice. Okay. So we've done our 5 normal questions. And as I've warned you before, I like to go in the deep end. But I think you like the deep end, so you're used to it. So, okay.
Yes.
I have 5 faith-based questions. We're going to dive more into your personal, profound aspects of your spiritual journey and your relationship with God. Here are 5 thought-provoking questions. Okay, here we go. I should probably ask you, what is your faith? What do you believe in?
I am a practicing Christian.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in Jesus. My faith story is kind of wild, which I don't know if you want me to get into my faith background right now. But yeah, I'm a practicing Christian, but haven't been my entire life.
Okay. So when you say you haven't been one your entire life, explain a little more.
So I grew up in a Muslim household. My parents are all practicing Muslims, so are all my siblings. And so that's what I grew up knowing and believing. But I knew that from a very young age, I knew that I didn't feel anything. I just knew that I had to do those things, and I had to believe in the God that my parents believed in and do the things that my parents did and what was said of me. Because that's all I knew.
So you were conditioned into it, as I was. So you had to believe what your parents believe, and that was it.
Yeah, essentially.
See, I had the same thing. I grew up in a Christian household. My grandfather was a preacher, like the crazy Southern Baptist kind of preacher. I have been to churches where they laid hands on you. They talked in tongues. It scared me to death. So when I got older, I was like, I don't want any part of this. Leave me alone. I will just be a good person and I will be fine throughout life. Yeah. So we kind of had the same thing there. So you were Muslim and now you are practicing Christian. So
yes.
Let's see. How did you discern what you believe in God's calling or purpose for your life? Like, were there specific events, insights, or people who significantly influenced your understanding?
Yeah, I think junior year of high school is when I started questioning things. I got invited into a organization through high school called Young Life. And I knew at the time that Young Life was a Christian-based organization, and I knew that they showed their beliefs and practiced their beliefs a lot. And so I went into that with that in mind. But I was invited with the same frame of, we just want to be friends with you. and we just want to get to know you as a person, and we just want to like hang out with you. And I think as someone who didn't have friends in high school, just really wanted to believe that and like hang on to it and be like, yay, friends. So I went into that with that like mindset of being able to just have friends, but in the midst of also making friends, I heard about the gospel for the first time at club, and it was mind blowing because I think in Islam there's not at least the way that I was growing. The things that were said when I was growing up, there was no like idea of God's love, and that was something that was so prominent and so pressing in even that first meeting in Young Life was talking about God's love, and that just like hung on to me as an idea that I wanted to explore.
How do you maintain your convictions in moments of doubt or when you're facing criticism about your faith? What steps do you take to fortify what you believe to be true now versus what you believe to be true then?
I lean a lot on people. I am a big community person. I think you have found that out. I am a big people person, and I love my people. So being able to find a community and being able to like just immerse myself in community, because I am the only practicing Christian in my family. I don't have that support at home. I am, because of my physical disability and the limitations that I do have, I don't have like a home church kind of situation where I'm able to go to church on every Sunday. So being able to find online communities and even IRL when I was in high school and even in college right now, being able to lean on people that continue to point me towards the gospel and towards Jesus. I will sometimes even just like word vomit essentially into people's that I know have continuously pointed me to Jesus. I will continue to lean on them, and they kind of ease my doubts, and just kind of say like, this is hard, and this is like a hard place in your life right now. You're in a very unique position, but Jesus has carried you through this point, and he'll continue to carry you through other points in your life.
Yes. So, spiritual practices. What are some daily or weekly practices that you find essential for nurturing your relationship with God? Like, how do these practices impact your personal and professional life?
I am a part of an online small group through an organization that I was introduced to through college. They do online Bible studies and book practices, and that's basically what I do on a weekly basis. Being able to get with community and study the word with people that have a background has been really helpful for me, just because I am still learning and I have not read the entirety of the Bible, nor have I read even half of the Bible so far.
Yeah.
So being able to study with someone that has a background has been really helpful. Just to walk through with them every week what we're going through, what the word says.
Mm-hmm.
And then my home church that I got baptized in, they have started since COVID hit. They've started online like Sunday church like live streams.
Yeah, I watch those. Yeah.
So I'm able to be a part of a church service and church community even on Sundays.
Yeah, we both share that. I don't really go to church either. I do an online church thing. There's like 2 that I listen to. I live actually across from a church, but I refused to go because I was ruined with churches when I was growing up. So it's just like the Bible says, where more than two are gathered, I am there. So I gather every Sunday with my husband and my children, and we watch an online service. And then I read my Bible, or I listen to a sermon or something daily. That's the way I have to charge my battery.
Yeah.
So, divine intervention. Can you share an experience where you felt a clear intervention or message from God? Like, how did this experience affect your interpretation of divine guidance in your life choices?
I think the pure idea and sheer idea of having a community was the divine intervention that I needed. Even like junior year of high school, I got into Young Life, and I think the idea of community and God's love coming together, I truly changed my life, and something that I needed to get me out of that like space of loneliness, and just unworthiness that I was feeling.
Yeah.
And that I was meant to feel, that I was made to feel through school. And so I think that girl, her name is Gabby. I love her. She's my longest standing best friend that I've had. I think them, like all of my Young Life leaders coming in at that moment, and saying, just come hang out with me. I think that was the divine intervention that I needed, just to get me out of that really depressing season of life.
Yeah, God's love is really something that can bring you out of the darkness, because I know we all go into a darkness sometimes, and it's very, very hard to see a way or why we should even come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think we've covered, let's see, I've got one more question for you. Let's see, spiritual growth and inspirations. So the question is, how does your faith or spirituality influence your daily life choices? I find that my faith is a big part of how I parent, how I create content, how I speak to people, like how I think. So I want to hear your perspective, how it influences your throughout the day.
I think it influences just the way that I show up, and show up for other people. I have really learned the power of community through everything that has happened, and the power of just having someone in your corner. So being able to show up fully and authentically for the people that you love, has been something that I continuously do on a daily basis and try to do on a daily basis. Just because I know the power of having someone in your corner and shining God's love through who you are as a person. I have seen firsthand how it saved lives, because it saved mine. So I just try to show up for people in a loving and whole self kind of manner.
Non-judgmental, because we know we've all felt the judgment of others. So pretty much, as Matthew 5:16 says, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So that is actually what it just means to be a Christian, and people just take that out of context and screw it up for others. So I'm hoping this podcast and others' perspectives will change that for others.
I do too.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you for being my very first podcast interview.
Of course.
I was so excited to see that message. I think I ran down the hallway and said, I got 4 interviews. Thank you so much for joining us today on Peace the Warrior. A big thank you to the Marvelous Miss for sharing her incredible journey and the powerful ways in which her faith has guided and uplifted her through the challenges of college life and community. It's stories like hers that remind us of the strength we can find in faith and the importance of community in our spiritual walks. If today's episode inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and a comment. We'd love to hear how faith has touched your life and helped you face your battles. Remember, you're not alone in your struggles. And with faith as your shield, there's nothing that you cannot overcome. Join us next time for another episode filled with faith, courage, and stories that inspire us to keep fighting the good fight. Until next time, peace out.